Jim and Dip, we haven't forgotten about you. Sorry about that.
You will find out what the weather is like in September, we promise.
Has been the most dramatic lead up to a weather in September video ever. All right, so Jim and Dip, the weather in September. So Jonas D on Facebook says, "Hi Robin and Laura, I am coming to New Zealand in September and I am watching hundreds of your videos to prepare. You guys are very helpful. Can you do a video about the New Zealand weather in September, please?" Yes, we can. All right, let's get started with a few tips about traveling in New Zealand in September, Laura.
All right, so do you want to clean that?
Yeah.
Okay, so September is the first month of the spring season in New Zealand. So that means that it's still a little bit cold because winter's just ended, but usually you start to see the weather starting to warm up a little bit and you have some more sort of clearer days. It's not maybe raining as much. And also it is a good time to travel around New Zealand because it's still pretty quiet in terms of how many tourists there are in New Zealand. And it also means that camper van and car rentals are a little bit cheaper than what you would expect in summer. And yeah, it is a really good time to travel in New Zealand. So what we'll do is go through the various what the rainfall and the rainfall and the temperatures are around New Zealand because it is different depending on which part of the country you're visiting. And yeah, we'll go through that. Do you want me to?
No, if you want to do a couple of tips and then we can get started.
Oh, okay. So UV rays, pretty intense. Oh yeah, so in September, because there are some more sunnier days happening, make sure that you do use sunscreen, especially if you're on the ski fields and stuff, because that's where the UV rays are a little bit more intense when you get to higher alpine regions. Although the skiing and stuff in September is really awesome, it's usually very, very sunny, and you do need to make sure that you protect yourself from the sun. And it's the same for when you're hiking as well. Yeah, we've gone through the shoulder season and
here you go. Let's go through the weather. Nice. All right, so we're going to be talking about the temperatures and the rainfalls in New Zealand in September, and we're going to go through all the different regions so you kind of know where you're going to be going, what kind of weather you can expect. But keep in mind that in New Zealand, weather in September is very changeable because we are changing kind of seasons right now. We are in the transition between, really cold winter to spring. So it's still really up in the air and quite unexpected as the weather. Also, New Zealand is an island, so expect that. All right, cool. So the typical temperatures in New Zealand in September. Let's start with the northern New Zealand, which is Northland, Auckland and Tauranga. That's on average 13 degrees Celsius, which is 56 degrees Fahrenheit. In central North Island, that's Hamilton, Taupo and Rotorua. That's about 10 degrees Celsius, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. In the southwest North Islands, so we're talking about New Plymouth, Palmerston North, and even Wellington all the way at the bottom, it's 11 degrees Celsius, which is about 52 degrees Fahrenheit. In eastern North Islands, so that is Gisborne, Napier, and I forget one.
The Wairarapa?
The Wairarapa, yeah. It's 12 degrees Celsius, about 54 degrees Fahrenheit. The northern New Zealand, the northern South Island, sorry about that. We're talking about Blenheim, Nelson, and even Picton, which is where you arrive with a ferry. This is about 11 degrees Celsius and 52 degrees Fahrenheit. The western South Island, so we're talking about Westport, Hokitika, and Milford Sound. It is about 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The eastern South Island, that's Kaikoura, Christchurch, and Timaru. That is 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Inland South Island, so that's all the mountainous kind of areas like Alexandra and Queenstown and even Lake Tekapo. That's 8 degrees Celsius and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. And the southern New Zealand is 9 degrees Celsius and 48 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's for your temperature. That's what kind of temperature you can expect in New Zealand in September. But it does rain quite a lot in New Zealand. That's what makes our country so beautiful and green. So what kind of rainfall can you expect in those areas of New Zealand in September? All right, let's go back to the North Island. And we're having Northland, which is Northland, Auckland, and Tauranga, with 130 millimeters of rain. Central Northland, that's Hamilton, Taupo, and Rotorua, with 90 millimeters of rain. New Plymouth, Palmerston North, and Wellington, that's 100 millimeters of rain. Gisborne, Napier, and the Wairarapa is 60 millimeters of rain. Blenheim and Nelson is 70 millimeters of rain on the South Island now. Then the west coast of the South Islands, and again, this is one of the rainiest places in the country, but don't be afraid, it's still an amazing place to visit. 250 to 530 millimeters depending on where you are at. Kaikoura, Christchurch, and Timaru, which is eastern South Islands, about 50 millimeters of rain, so quite dry. Lake Tekapo, Queenstown, and Alexandra is between 30 to 50 millimeters of rain, so the central North Island is the lowest amount of rain. And the southern South Island is 50 millimeters of rain as well. All right, now if we have to actually pick some of the best places in September to visit in New Zealand, we have the Tongariro National Park. What is there to do here? Some awesome whitewater rafting and what?
There is the Tongariro crossing, and September, I think it's October actually, it officially opens, but you can still get some winter guides in September to do the crossing, but there's loads of different hikes you can do around the Tongariro National Park. So yeah, basically hiking, whitewater rafting, and going to the chateau for high tea.
Nice. So if you spend some time in Wellington in September, you'll be lucky enough to actually see the WOW, which is the World of Wearable Art Festival.
Wow, not
wow.
Whoa.
Whoa, what is that? Okay, wow then. Wow or whoa, whatever you prefer. Anyway, there is basically it's not a festival, it's kind of it's a
fashion show.
Yeah, it's a fashion show style where it's like really artistic kind of fashion, like you have someone dressed like a monsters or like castles and everything. It's really cool. Anyway, It's happening there. In Hamilton, if you are studying there or just driving by, there is the Tulip Festival in the Hamilton Garden. In Queenstown, there is a lot of really amazing whitewater rafting because the snow is starting to melt, so the rapids are even rapider, and the waters are even waterer. It's really epic. It's really awesome to go to Queenstown at this time of the year. And in Kaikoura, the wildlife is especially active at the beginning of spring. Spring wildlife, there's a lot of things happening. So between the whales, the seals, everything, there's really a lot there. Now, still, if you're traveling in September in New Zealand, you want to have some pretty good things packed. So let's go over quickly a quick packing must-have of September.
All right, so like I mentioned, it is the first month of spring, so it's still a little bit cold from winter, so you will need to have a few things packed, like thermal layers, which are basically like your underlayers, like merino wool, for instance, which is really popular in New Zealand. And if you can't get that back home, you can definitely pick it up in a store in New Zealand. That's usually really good to have. Also some high factor sunscreen, because the sun starts to shine quite a lot during September, and the UV rays in New Zealand in particular are pretty harsh because there is a hole in the ozone layer just above New Zealand. So it is a really good idea to have sunscreen. Even on a cloudy day, apply sunscreen as well. A rain jacket, because really no matter what month of the year in New Zealand it is, there definitely can be rain. So it's always a good idea to have a rain jacket. And on a similar note, some waterproof hiking boots, because walking in wet shoes is never fun. Also, make sure you have some swimwear, because you have, like Robin said, there's some awesome whitewater rafting to be done, so you'll need swimwear for underneath there. But if you're not really into being in cold water, then there's still plenty of hot pools that you're probably wanting to try. And finally, make sure that you have some sunglasses, especially for driving, and just generally protecting your eyes from UV rays.
All right, so Jonas, I hope that this answered your question about the weather in September. We also had Jeff and Deep on the live chat that was asking about the weather in September. So hopefully you guys got every single information you needed about that. But if you do want some more, we have a link for you guys in the description below with the weather in September and plenty more information. And if you do have some questions of your own, put them in the live chat if you're watching us live, put them in the comments if you're watching a rerun of this video. And obviously check out BackpackerGuide.NZ for heaps of tips.
Yeah,